What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the Opinionated Hippie. Going to start a deep dive into Cheap Trick's studio albums. Going to start with the 4 70s ones, all of them great. Then going to do the 80s in a video, then probably do everything else in one. Zappa Connection. Cheap Trick has been on my list of Zappa connected bands for a while, but I couldn't remember the connection. And when I Googled and searched, I thought Zappa had played a Cheap Trick song on a radio broadcast. He would like sometimes host radio shows and play songs. I could not find that track list of songs that had Cheap Trick, but I found this. They were on a playbill together. Cheap Trick was opening for Styx, and Zappa was on the same playbill. So that works. They obviously exist in the same musical world. If you're not familiar with Cheap Trick, they are an absolutely amazing sort of blending of like big star power pop / rock with some hard rock energy that to me reminds me of like early Alice Cooper type, just really streamlined, kind of menacing hard rock. Beatles pop psych melodies galore, dipping into a little bit of like ELO type pop psych, a little bit of Who bombast. One of the best vocalists, just Robin Zander, just completely, I would say, underappreciated. Is just a phenomenal rock and roll singer. Just his expressions, his energy, his growls, everything about Zander is perfect. Rick Nielsen is a guitar player. He's not out there just dropping these shred solos, but he does so many incredibly inventive and imaginative things over the course of a song with his guitar. The rhythm section of Peterson and Carlos is just phenomenal. This band is amazing, especially the 4 albums that were released in the 70s. I would say each of these has been probably my favorite Cheap Trick album at some point in time. The one that's going to be at number 4 was the first one I heard, so I love that the most. And then over time, the other 3 have sort of, fought for that role. I now have a new number favorite that's not the one at number 4, obviously. But yeah, I'm going to rank them, talk about them briefly, and then, next week I'll do the 80s. But yeah, fantastic band. But anyways, of these 4 that were released in the 70s, my number 4 is Dream Police. Their number 4, this was the first one I ever got from them because of the song Dream Police. Came out in 1979. Yeah, it's just another really, really strong album by this band. This has 2 super indulgent long tracks, which was not anything they were dabbling in on their first 3 albums. A song called Gonna Raise Hell, which is like 9.5 minutes of pretty much the same groove over and over and over. It's got a little bit of swag. It's got a hard rock edge. And over the course of this groove, it's just, they drop a song, one of the best Zander vocal performances where he's just yelling, mother, mother for a while. We get a little jam at the end that's kind of reminiscent of what the Knack was doing with My Sharona, like dropping weird jams at the end of songs. We get strings piled on at the end as this energy just builds and builds and builds. This nice proggy middle section. Absolutely monster of a song. The album closes with another slow burn monster called Need Your Love, which is like 7.5 minutes of just like building upon this one idea, adding all these little guitar parts, this bang-a-gong T-Rex type jam just tacked on at the end, kind of like the jams tacked on at the end of Gonna Raise Hell. 2 ridiculously amazing songs that almost kind of sound like nothing else that they did earlier on, or it sounds like shorter songs and they're just extending them. And the other one that's really strong on here is a song called Voices, which has like an ELO ballady type vibe, almost like drops into like a George Harrison, Jeff Lynne produced pop sound, but has this hypnotic psych vibe at the end. Amazing. 3 absolutely amazing songs. Dream Police, the opening track, the title track, a little more keyboard action coming into their sound, a little more poppy, kind of silly. It's kind of a silly song, but it was kind of a big hit. Way of the World, your nice, really tight power pop rocker. Lyrics. There's a couple songs on here which are about like relationships ending, and the lead singer, Zander's role seems to be of the point of somebody who is now stalking. Like there's always a sort of uncomfortable, I don't know if satirical is the right word, but there seem to be this uncomfortable edge underneath some of their lyrics. If they're not just outright celebrating, hey, let's rock tonight, there seems to be a darker tone to some of their lyrics. In Way of the World, there's some darkness in these lyrics. The house is rocking with domestic problems. They just throw the darkness right there in the title. Nice, really tight rocker, some great guitar solo energy. Gonna Raise Hell is the fourth song. I'll Be With You Tonight, just an upbeat power pop rocker, really cool riff. Voices, nice ballad. Writing on the Wall, a nice Writing on the Wall, nice Chuck Berry rocker. They have a lot of like Chuck Berry type rave up rockers where they just kind of go at it, and energy is really solid. I Know What I Want, which is like a nice mid-tempo, sort of slinky type rocker. I don't think Xander is singing on this one. I think somebody else in the band is singing. This also has stalker energy. The album closes out with the phenomenal Need Your Love. Really, really good album. Super strong. A little more accessible, it feels like, to a mass audience, but still it's got that Cheap Trick darkness to it. But that is my number 4, Dream Police. My number 3 is their second In Color, another near perfect power pop rocker album. This one is maybe a little less eccentric than I think their first one, nor is it a little less have those absolute must-hear, stand-out classic tracks as their third one, but it's still just from start to finish an absolute banger. Opens up with a song called Hello There, which is it's like a minute and a half long, maybe a little bit longer. But they wrote it specifically to open their shows with, and it's very much like a hello there, are you ready to rock? It's very much a like opening song thing. But they discovered that they were an opening act at this point and starting to get bigger and bigger, and they usually didn't have a time to do like sound checks. So they wrote this song so that the first 2 minutes they could sound check their sound and play a song. And so by the time the song was over, they were ready to go forward. So all right, I wonder how many bands actually do that. Their opening song is literally played so they can figure things out because they don't have time to do a sound check. Neat little opener. And then the closing song is this really awesomely melodic, super catchy, kind of softer pop song called So Good to See You. And the book ending of Hello There to So Good to See You on the album, I just think makes the album like super effective and makes it really work well. Big Eyes is the second song. Just this pounding, big, tightly wound rocker. Has swagger in it. And this is one of those bands where there are 5 or 6 melodic hooks or little sections throughout that you're just like, oh, this is super catchy. Oh, this riff is super cool. Like what they're doing songwriting is just like every song has so many, it's almost like a little mini epic, but we have just really short little pockets of new ideas that keep things fresh. Downed, another kind of has some trippy Beatle-esque type stuff, like the Because type weirdness or the She Wants You. They dip into that like Beatles psychness every so often. Some really great lyrics about being brokenhearted. This awesome little alliteration thing, such a strange strain on you, where he keeps singing over, and it's just, I don't know, really works. It's really catchy. Drops into some really random hard riffs right in the middle of the song. Fantastic. The studio version of I Want You to Want Me is on this album. I think that is so much better than the Budokan version. It is this bouncy, almost Beatle-esque vibe. Like, it could be a Paul song, it could be a John song, but you get the sort of Beatle inspiration in like the studio version. I think it is far better than the live version. You're All Talk, like some upbeat power rock, some great guitar riff, some great bass playing on here, kind of an urgent rocker. Oh, Caroline, some upbeat power rock. Clock Strikes 10. Chuck Berry type like rave up, really great party rock song. Southern Girls, their sort of version of like California Girls, not in like the Beach Boys sense, but in like shout out to the Southern Girls. Really nice, just awesome steady drum beat that goes through with the singing on top of it. Come On, Come You, probably the poppiest thing on here yet. And then we close out with So Good to See You. Super strong album from start to finish. And I do think if you have not heard the studio version of I Want You to Want Me, it is essentially the same song, but I think the melodic strength of this band and their ability to write such like tightly wound power pop songs is just, it shows it off to a great degree. That's my number 3. My number 2 is their number 3, Heaven Tonight. And this has 2 absolutely perfect Cheap Trick songs. Opens up with Surrender, which is just some of the best lyrics ever. I mean, you get sex, you get drugs, you get rock and roll, you get a Kiss reference. You get everything in these lyrics. And this is what I mean. I think this is the definition of a tightly wound pop song. Like those drum fills, like the song doesn't work without them. Like every time those chords come in, that dun, 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 and then you get that bass response. Like it really feels like this is a tightly wound machine, and every little part must happen for the next part to succeed. Yeah, just an absolutely perfectly executed song. And then we get the title track, which is on the second half of the album called Heaven Tonight, which taps into that Beatlesque She's So Heavy type psych, like this continuing vamp that just kind of goes over and over and kind of builds and hypnotizes you. And there's like a menace to it and this haunting masterpiece. And it's everything like the Lennon Claypool delirium. If you've heard like the recent stuff by Les Claypool and Sean Lennon, they tap into this sort of psych energy. Just an absolute masterpiece of a song. And those two songs alone probably require that you hear this album, but everything else on here is fantastic. Opens with Surrender. On Top of the World has this almost Peter Gunn slinking type guitar riff that opens it up. A lot of like theatrics in it. We got these like stop start lyrics where like I'm on the top of the world, and but he breaks out and the vocals come in and we come back into the song. Super melodic chorus in here. Absolutely wonderful song. California Man, like a Chuck Berry-esque rocker with this randomly drop in some hard rock riff in the middle of it. High Roller, super like also just guitar riff setting the mood, another rocker. Auf Wiedersehen, which says goodbye in like a whole bunch of different languages. Intense dark rock energy. The vocals on this, there are so many times on here where like it just sounds like Xander is having the time of his life. He can growl, he can sing, he can get pretty, he can get like just weirdly swag. Absolutely amazing. Taking Me Back, a little more of a restrained rocker, has another earworm melody in there, little whimsical psych pop elements that pop in. On the Radio is your just like an early rock celebration of the radio type vibe. Xander is killing the vocals on this thing. We get like a little DJ thing at the end where, hey, welcome to da-da-da, like, like we're listening to a radio. Heaven Tonight, Stiff Competition, another really hard rocker that is like a lot of sexual innuendo going on in there. Energy is absolutely amazing. How Are You? Nice piano, bouncy type psych pop. A la like I Want You to Want Me, a little more simplified, streamlined type thing. Some ELO kind of psych pop energy. Eau Claire closes out with just this big band. I think this is like maybe an excerpt from like the Budokan shows. We get a Konnichiwa to end. Pretty much a perfect album. Absolutely wonderful. Two all-time classics in Surrender and Heaven Tonight. But there's nothing wrong with this album. It's used to be my favorite for a long time, but right now, the one that has taken its place that I think is right now their best, that is their debut, Cheap Trick. This came out in 1977. It's just super fun. The rhythm section is ridiculous. The guitars are ridiculous. The vocal performances are ridiculous. There is so much confidence in this debut, and they are so fully committed to. Nielsen is created to just being committed to being so creative on the guitar. Xander's vocals, everything about it. The lyrical content, flirting with like darker issues, TV violence among the youth, people taking their own life, people dying early. There's just so much going on here. That power pop energy, the dark lyrics, it's a perfect combination. Opens up with ELO Kitties, ELO Kitties, ELO Kitties. Get some awesome glam, swag, hard rock type stuff. This is one of those songs where I don't know if they're embracing teen rebellion or they're mocking teen rebellion or they're common. It's the beauty of it all. They're so committed musically, and at the same time, we're like, are they mocking our side? I don't know. It's fantastic stuff. Very anthemic opener. One of the greatest debut songs ever, I would argue. Daddy Should Have Stayed in High School. Really nasty Alice Cooper-esque hard rock. Daddy's older and he has a thing for girls in high school. So yeah, let's not go to there. It's creepy, but it's super catchy. Taxman, Mr. Thief, almost like a complete nod to the Beatles right there. But yeah, we even get a Beatles reference. We even get a Dylan reference commenting on taxmen taking the money from musicians. Just 70s meets 60s perfection right here. Cry, 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 nice, slow, kind of heavy riff that just kind of grinds away. Some great psych pop hooks in here. Oh Candy, this is a dedication to the friend who unfortunately took their own life. Very emotional, restrained, but at the same time, there's some catchy little melodies in here because they got hooks galore. Why did you do it? Hot Love, upbeat Chuck Berry style rocker. Speak Now or Forever Hold Your Peace, almost like a Georgia Satellites type, bluesy type, country blues type riff in there. Relatively low key for this album, but there's like a slow intensity to it. He's a Whore, catchy 2.5 minute rocker. Mandocello, an actual like an acoustic slow down type thing that drops into this kind of slow funky 70s groove. Another melody that just kind of lingers in your soul for a while. And then we close out with the Ballad of TV Violence, I'm Not the Only Boy. Just really nice. The drums give this like almost uneasy sort of rhythmic sort of intensity, this really nice guitar riff. It's about violence and its effect on kids and how it creates unsettled adults and everything about this album from start to finish. Perfect debut. I think everything Cheap Trick is like lauded as being for like the rest of their career, you can trace back to everything they did on this first album and that they kind of built on and capitalized on over the 3 that I already talked about. Cheap Trick nailed the 70s. That's what the list looks like in typewritten form. Pretty easy to remember. All of these are worth checking out. Yeah, you just can't go wrong with any of them, I would argue. And it doesn't quite stay that way, though they do have some good stuff as we move forward. So anyways, that's all I got for now. Thanks for watching. Those are my thoughts on Cheap Trick's first 4 albums, and we'll get to more in maybe a week or maybe in a couple of days. Who knows? All right, let me hear your thoughts. Peace. Subscribe, like, share, comment, do those things, and peace. Thanks for watching.